Hey guys, my name is Daniel, and with me is Dustin Shutter. Welcome to our little podcast. Today, Dustin and I met again to talk about some exciting topics, and we hope you enjoy our little show today. So, today we talk about UFOs and about USOs, strange unknown objects that have been sighted underwater. And we also talk about some paranormal experiences. And guys, if you like this episode, please leave us a like and subscribe to the channel. You can also leave us a nice comment and let us know what you think about what you heard today. And if you prefer to listen to our conversations on Spotify or other podcast platforms, we will leave a link in the description. Dustin, how was Halloween for you? Did you party?
It was really fun. Yeah, no, we didn't really party much. Me and the girlfriend like to dress up, and we went as Ronald McDonald and Wendy's, from the two big restaurant chains in the U.S. So yeah, we just yeah, it was fun. We went and visit my sister and my mother and my sister's kids that all were all dressed up, and we just socialized and had fun. Gave out some candy towards the end of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
As I
Yeah.
told, yeah, I told you I was very drunk. I was pretty drunk. German beer hits you hard. And the kids were outside collecting candy, so I had the chance to sip a few beers. Yeah,
Cool.
that's all I have to say. What are we talking about today? Let's start with I was recording for our German podcast project yesterday, and we were talking about whether it's okay to dress up as a serial killer or ex-murderer on Halloween. My two colleagues have a very strict opinion on that. I'm more relaxed about it. What do you think about it? Is it okay to dress up as Jeffrey Dahmer or and beg for candy as Jeffrey Dahmer? My colleagues have the opinion that the whole thing is somewhat, let's say, trivialized.
I agree. Well, again, I think it happened a long time ago. There's other serial killers too, like John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown.
Mm.
I think he was in Chicago. And then we have Ed Gein too,
Yeah.
from Plainville, Wisconsin.
It was the man eater, right?
Yeah, well, he's more of a grave robber. He only killed two people, and
Oh,
most of the stuff that they found were these macabre objects that he would make, like lampshades out of human skin, and he
I
he had a
remember.
belt with human nipples, and
Yeah.
like skulls with like cereal bowls, just really weird stuff. But yeah, he was found insane, and he was actually was held at the insane asylum in Madison, where I'm at.
Oh, okay.
So he spent the rest of his life here and died there. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, Wisconsin's known for having these weird, bizarre serial killers and bizarre murders and haunted houses, and yeah.
Oh, haunted houses. They are great.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
was at a haunted house just yesterday
Oh,
with
really?
a good friend of mine. We went to a place. It's an old house which is pretty wrecked up already, and I think it's from the. I think it was built in the 50s or 60s. I think.
Oh,
I
wow.
think. And we went there yesterday. You have to walk through a little, yeah, through the woods a little bit, and there suddenly there's a house in the middle of the woods, and no houses around. And we went inside, and the story of this house is that there was this the man who lived there with his family, with his wife and his two or three kids. I don't remember, but yeah, he killed them. He killed his family, and then he took his own life. And that's what the story says. I don't know if it's really true, but that's what they say. That's what people say. And we went inside and took some photos and did some little videos. But the house, like I said, it's pretty messed up already, and there's graffiti inside and graffitis inside. Yeah, and I think some bums slept in there and left their beer bottles. So nothing special to see, but it was cool. So, and
It's spooky.
I didn't have a bad feeling when I went inside. We
Um,
were at another house a few months back, and we went inside, and I felt not so good. Let's put it that way. I I felt a little bit strange. I wouldn't say it was fear, but it was a very strange feeling. So my heart began to race, and yeah, I don't know. It was strange. And this house had a very bad backstory too. Yeah, but
Hmm.
nothing happened. Nothing happened
Thank
inside
God.
the house. Yeah, thank God nothing happened. I spoke with Douglas Spalthoff, German guy, Douglas Spalthoff. He has been
Cool.
a UFO researcher for many decades, and he told me about some couple, about a few strange cases. One occurred in South America. There
Mhm.
was, it was in the 70s, I think. He talked about the fact that the military there noticed that an object had come down at a certain place. So they sent soldiers there to investigate the crash site and see what happened there. Maybe you heard about this case.
Sounds
Um,
familiar.
yeah, they found a strange looking object and also found some creatures, small creatures. The creatures, however, left the object after the crash and ran off in different directions. The soldiers gave chase, and one of the creatures was shot in the process, I think. Yeah. The other
Shit.
three were captured and taken, yeah, to an unknown location. An
Mhm.
autopsy was performed on the dead creature, and they were found to have no digestive system. And there were other strange anomalies, but I don't remember those right now. A very interesting case, I think.
Yeah,
Whether it all really played out that way, of course, I don't know. But if it did, it's really exciting. Yeah,
it is. That's crazy. It's another Roswell.
yeah. South America. There's many strange things going on in South America when it comes to UFOs and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. And just the ancient stuff they have there with all the pyramids and other stuff they dig out of the ground.
I haven't heard much about that. Do you got something for me?
Oh, but the pyramids?
Yeah,
uh,
maybe.
well, I know there's over 1,000 pyramids in South America. And I just think that's amazing. The fact that they were making these out of the jungle where the ground wasn't stable enough in the first place. And then you were knocking down these trees and bushes to make way for these cities. It is mind boggling with the technology. You look at their in their toolboxes, basically stones and sticks that they're banging with, you know.
And they had to bring those stones and rocks
From
there to,
somewhere,
yeah,
right?
from somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah.
But from where?
Yeah. It's yeah, very mysterious. I love how mysterious South America is in general. Do you hear about the Kayapo Indians in South America?
Yeah.
So there's a tribe they're called the Kayapo Indians. So yeah, the story goes that these Kayapo Indians believe how their culture started. They're like cavemen when they were saying they were drinking from the same water hole as the animals and stuff like that. And then one day they saw fire and smoke come from the sky and land on top of a mountain peak. And when after a while this thing came into their village and it was from head to toe in this like astronaut costume with this bulbous head with a glass helmet. And then the villagers, the brave men, took their spears and weapons and threw it at him, and all their weapons turned into dust. And he had a weapon himself, and he never pointed at the people, but he pointed at a tree, and it blew up the tree. And the people were like scared, and they ran into the bush, and they watched from a distance while he was standing in their village, just standing there. And then the people got enough courage to walk up to him and offer him food at his feet, like fish and fruit. And um, I guess the next day, this creature started talking in their language, and they were brave enough to ask him, how do you know our language now?" And he's like, "Well, the first night I had to learn your language." And then after that, he's taught them agriculture, mathematics, just other different teachings, how to uh, use different weapons, techniques, and then he even like married one of the village women. And they talk about like inside this helmet, he had this beard and white skin, Yeah, he stayed with the people for a few years, and I guess they made a school after him. But then one day he just left and promised a day to return one day, and he left in his craft with smoke and fire into the sky again. But the people every year would reminisce the story of how this thing came into their village and taught them agriculture, mathematics, and astronomy. And his name is Bep Karoti. And then they would actually have one of the village people dress up like him in a straw garment and look like an astronaut with this stick. And he'd walk around and then had the village people walk around him singing in song about how this thing came with smoke and fire to their village and taught them and then left.
Yeah, I remember they still celebrate to this day. They celebrate this.
Yeah,
Yeah, they celebrate him. They go with straw costumes and stuff like that, and they
right.
also sell little puppets.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Eric Von Daniken is really big on that.
yeah. He told me about
The
them.
cargo cult. Yeah,
Yeah, the cargo cult. You really. Yeah, he told me about them. I remember now. Yeah, so much crazy stuff.
there is, there is. I have another story I was going to tell you too with this guy that I met on Instagram. His name is Nate Sullivan, and he's from Dallas, Texas. And he reached out to me when I was doing one of the Instagram lives, just kind of chit chatting, having people talk to me if they want to tell me their story. And he had this story about he's a golfer and he liked to practice his golf swing outside, and he thought it'd be a good idea to take his phone camera, and film himself in slow motion so he can see his technique while he was swinging. And he plays the video back and he realizes that there were flying saucers flying over his head while he was doing this. He's like, oh shit. So he started taking his camera and pointing it to the sky and putting in slow motion mode. And he's been catching all this amazing stuff where he coined the word the invisible highway, where there's this, he's saying that there is constant traffic of UFOs over our heads right now, like going on. And he was encouraging me to go try this with my camera. And he said cloudy days are the best days to do it because they like to use the clouds to go in and out through the clouds. Believe it or not, I went out there one day and I did it just for a minute, because a minute in slow motion is like 5 minutes. So you have to like, look through the video and
Yeah.
see if you see anything. And yeah, I caught this fucking black ball. Just it came super fast and then it slowed down and it zigzagged through the clouds and then it zipped off. And I was just shocked. I was like, oh shit. I'm like, this guy is right. I'm like, I did it again a day later and I caught something very similar. This black ball that just comes shooting into frame, like it knows like I was ready to film or something like that. It was amazing. I had my friend I don't have a computer, so I send my videos to my friend that has a computer. He's going to edit it. So I encourage you to take your camera and put it in slow motion on a cloudy day and just let it sit there for a minute and see what you catch. You might be surprised.
Yeah, since I live in a small village, I'm not sure if I can catch something like that. But as I
Oh,
told
you
you
might be
before,
surprised.
yeah, I told you I had an UFO sighting here in 1996 back then in 1996. Maybe, yeah, I should try that slow
Just
motion.
try it. Yeah.
Um,
So he's his Instagram is called The Invisible Highway. So I encourage anybody who is listening to this or want to check out his videos to go check that out.
I will. Interesting, very interesting.
Yeah.
Um, I told you about that guy Douglas Spaltov, and he also is investigating cattle mutilations.
Cool.
And he told me about some crazy cases. And cattle mutilations was never a big thing for me, but then I met this guy. His name is Mattis. He's from Germany, and he has a YouTube channel, and it's called UFO Wissen in German. And he talks about UFO cases on this channel. And he himself once found a mutilated cow when he was walking his dog. He lives in the country, and there are many cattle there. So he told me that he found this cow, and he looked closely at the cow and found some strange injuries. It was already dead.
Mhm.
For example, one of her eyes was removed, and the flesh
Mm.
was removed from her cheeks.
Oh shit.
And from her, is it called udder? I think,
Others.
yeah, udder.
Hmm.
I'm so glad that nobody complained about my German accent and
Everybody loves your German accent.
my. Thank you.
Trust me. Yeah.
So all the teats, I think it's called teats, were removed from the udder,
Hmm. Hmm. Oh no.
and also the anus of the cow was, let's say, neatly cut out. It was very precisely cut out, like with I don't know, with professional equipment. There was almost no blood. It was no cuts like, I don't know, you and I would cut it out like cavemans, but it was very precisely cut out, the anus. And
Weird.
and the teats were removed very precisely. And it was strange. And he found that strange, and he went home, took his camera, and went back, did photos and videos of the cow, and sent it to this guy who is in Germany. His name is Josef Zehne,
Hmm.
and he works on cattle mutilation cases in Germany, which I never knew about, that there were cattle mutilations in Germany. But why not when it happens in so many other countries?
Yeah, why not?
About those cattle mutilations in Germany. But yeah, and this guy Josef, he also told me about very strange cattle mutilation cases in Germany where cattle's got their insides removed, and there was only very, very small holes, like a centimeter
Hey,
and stuff, and the insides were taken out, the heart, the liver, the
like
lungs.
sucked out.
I don't know, and it's crazy. How? And
Yeah.
they have no blood inside anymore. The blood is gone. All the blood is drained out. There's only a little bit of blood in the heart, in the heart chamber.
Huh.
And that's strange, very
That's
strange. They
very
found
strange.
no stress hormones in this little bit of blood. So that means the cow had no stress and wasn't in fear when it happened.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That is very crazy.
Yeah. I don't know what to think about those cattle mutilations, but they're very, very strange. Very strange. Who did
Linda
it?
Moulton Howell is a
Yeah.
big cow mutilation investigator.
Yeah. You and I, we will have Linda Moulton Howe on the podcast. I'm pretty sure about that. I wrote an
Oh, I'm
email,
excited.
and she said yes to an interview, but I haven't heard from her in a long time now. I don't know. I hope we will get it done someday. Mattis also told me about some UFO cases, which I found very interesting. And he
Yeah,
told
let's hear
me
him.
about a case in 1964. There was this man, I think his name was Donald Schramm or something like that. He went hunting with some friends, and at some point they separated,
Hmm.
and Donald got lost and couldn't find his way back, probably because it got dark. I don't know exactly,
Hmm.
but he lost track and couldn't find the way back to the car and to his friends. So he decided to climb a tree to be protected from wild animals and to sleep there for the night.
Hmm.
And in this night he has seen a UFO. To make a long story short, beings came out of the UFO. So the UFO landed near him, and some strange beings creeped out, and they noticed him in the tree. And then they tried to get him down from the tree. They tried to catch him, I think.
Shit.
And yeah, a back and forth arose, and among these beings there was this robot-like creature, which constantly emitted gas in Donald's direction to stun him. It stunned him for a few seconds. Every time
Right.
gas hit him, it stunned him for a few seconds or maybe minutes. So
Mhm.
those creatures tried to get him off the tree, and he fought back like an
Wow.
animal. He threw
Wow.
branches at the creatures, and he was in so much fear. He threw branches and sticks and everything he could grab. He threw it at these creatures, and he also lit his clothes on fire and threw it at them.
Wow. That's terrifying. Holy
Very
shit.
terrifying. Imagine being that guy.
No.
And at one point, he was apparently so desperate that he thought about taking his own life. He was very
Oh,
desperate and he thought about killing himself. Yeah. The tree was on a kind of cliff, I think.
wow.
Matt has told me, I don't remember everything, but the tree was near a cliff and he considered jumping down, but he didn't because he had a family and he thought about them and said,
Mhm.
I have to be strong and I have to fight for my family and I have to stay alive. So, yeah, they continued to shoot him with the gas. And at some point, he just fainted. He fainted and he blacked out and he fell asleep.
Mhm.
I don't know if it was from the gas or if he was just exhausted. And yeah, when he woke up, I don't know if it was the next day or hours later. I don't know. When he woke up, it was all over. They were gone. The
Mhm.
crest was gone, but they found, I think it's called traces of the
Markings.
markings
Mhm.
of the object where it stood, and yeah, maybe they had no way to climb up the tree. Maybe they couldn't climb the tree and get him down, and also yeah, he was tied up there with his
Yeah.
with I don't know, with a rope or with his belt. I don't know. He was tied up there. Maybe they couldn't get him down, so he was spared. He then sought out his colleagues and told them what happened, and they also reported seeing some strange lights, and they could confirm there was something strange going on there in the woods, but they couldn't find him. Yeah, it's really a crazy case, assuming
It
the whole
is.
thing really happened that way.
Yes. And where was this located again?
It was in California.
California. Okay.
California. I don't know. It's like I said, it's a crazy case, and
I was going to talk about a case in Europe that maybe I don't know if you
yeah,
heard about. Wendell Stevens actually investigated this case shortly after, I think maybe even during his investigation with Billy Meyer, because the fact that he was already in Europe
yeah.
and he heard about this case. Uh, this contactee,
Stefan Denarde. I don't know.
Denente. But anyways, let me get back to the story. uh, so him and his family, him and his teenage two daughters and a son and his wife went sailing out in the ocean, and they were doing this recreationally and spending the whole day out there. I think they were even thinking about sleeping over overnight on their sailboat. But anyways, they were out. I think it was during sundown, and the guy hit something in the water, and he just noticed when he looked over there was a body that was face down in the water, and his first instinct was just to jump over the rail and grab the guy, so he did. And when he dragged this body up, he notices um, this guy was in a like an astronaut suit with a helmet, but the helmet was like a blue light was shining through it where you couldn't see the face. So it was this round helmet with this blue light that was shining through it. And he was just in awe. And the family's all scared and screaming on the other side of on the other side of the boat. And he noticed that this in the water, this surface started to rise, and it was like a flying saucer. It just kind of perked itself on top of the water, and then this latch opened and this door opened, and this creature in the same outfit as the one that this guy fished out of the water uh, came onto his sailboat, but he was very robotic when he was moving. And he picked up the guy that was on the sailboat, and he even kind of waved thank you for rescuing his friend. And then yeah, the family just fucking was freaking out, screaming and crying. And um then the UFO submerged underneath the water again, and I guess the family stayed in the boat for the rest of the night, like just freaked out. And I guess in the morning, the UFO popped out of the water again, and another door opened, and the creature that he saw last night invited him to come onto this UFO, and he's enough where he felt safe enough where if they were gonna hurt him, they were gonna hurt him that night.
Yeah.
Um, so he hopped onto this UFO, and he was having telepathic messages with these extraterrestrials that were like they have this like horse face, very bony. Yeah,
Oh, it was this guy. It was this guy. That's what he saw.
yeah. He was asked to if he had any questions to go ahead and ask, and they had a viewing screen right in front of him. So when he was asking questions, they would view what he was asking, and he was like majority of the questions like where they came from and how they lived, and they actually showed in the interiors of their houses and how their food how they farm these like because their planet is majority of water. I think it's like 15% is land, so they farm they farm a lot of fish and other or whatever aquatic life they have there. I don't know what they have.
Mhm.
uh yeah, so this guy was blown away that he had this experience, but then he had this continuance of contacts, not physical, but telepathic contacts. Like around 4 o'clock in the middle of the afternoon, he would get these telepathic messages where he'd just sit at his desk and he just like write super fast of like transcripts of like other um, knowledge and technology and stuff like that.
Whoa.
Yeah, but yeah, he wrote this. Him and Wendell wrote this book together. It's pretty thick too.
Yeah.
It's a pricey book too. It's kind of rare. So I was lucky to find this one on a bid.
And you left it unboxed.
Yeah, I've read the auto book.
Yeah.
I just wanted to save it in as good as condition as I could.
Yeah, I
Keep it
do that
wrapped.
too. I do that too with books like that. Yeah. So
Yeah,
from which year is this book? When did this thing happen?
probably 1965.
65. Is this guy
Mhm.
still alive?
No, I don't think so.
Would be a great podcast guest. So we're talking about USOs now, I guess.
Oh yeah.
I heard about this case where a Russian submarine detected 6 unknown objects in the South Pacific. These objects were moving towards the submarine at over 260 miles per hour.
Oh wow.
They were disc-shaped and moving in a specific formation.
Hmm.
Can't tell you which, but it was some kind of formation. So the idea appeared that they were something intelligent in there. So the commander ordered to slow down the submarine, and as they slowed down, so did the objects. The commander then gave the order to surface, and as they breached the surface, these objects also came shooting out of the water and flew away quickly. Very, very fast. They just flew away. Strange. But they say it really happened. And then there was also this incident in Lake Baikal, that's in Siberia. Navy divers were there on a research mission for I don't know what. At some point, the divers noticed some humanoid beings in the water just watching the divers, just staring at them and checking what's going on.
I heard of that case.
They looked like they had helmets on and were said to be about, I think, 9 feet tall or something like that. You heard about it? Yeah, great. They were wearing tight silver suits, and the divers could not detect any oxygen equipment or breathing devices of any kind. And yeah, very strange. And
Strange.
then they decided to capture one of the things and approach the creatures, which is not a it's not a good idea in my opinion to
No.
yeah, approach some strange alien beings in the sea. And guys, don't run with forks, don't eat yellow snow, and don't chase aliens underwater. Yeah, don't drink too much German beer also. Yeah, but as they get closer, the divers were catapulted to the surface by an unknown force, they said.
Wow.
This force was so strong that 3 of the divers died instantly. They just
Wow.
died instantly. Were dead.
The shockwave.
The shockwave, they killed them instantly, and the other 4 were seriously injured. Yeah. If it really happened.
If it really happened.
If it really happened. I think being an alien intelligence, an alien civilization, the best place to hide for me would be in the sea, down
Yes.
there, deep down there, or I don't know, inside of a mountain or inside, yeah,
Yes.
in a mountain would be a good idea too. So,
Hmm.
but the sea, damn,
The sea is the perfect spot.
we
It's the
know
perfect spot.
we don't know much about the deep sea. We don't
We
know much
don't.
about it, and we
I think we only know about like 10% of what's in the oceans. That's insane to me. And the fact that we know a lot more about space just opens so much more questions.
maybe the aliens are there in the
Yeah.
deep.
Or they've been there forever.
We talked about in another podcast, in my German podcast project, we talked about those the octopus. If the octopus could be an alien being and could be brought to Earth via how
Panspermia.
panspermia. Yeah, the
Hmm.
panspermia theory, which is very interesting. And they
It is. Yeah.
and there's people that think maybe we came here the
Hmm.
same way,
Same way. Hmm.
or some other species. But the octopus is very, yeah, different from everything else. First, it's an invertebrate,
Hmm.
and what's strange about this things is they play, and that's strange because mostly vertebrates play
Hmm.
because it's important to see who's the boss, who is lower in the range, and stuff like that. Playing is important for vertebrates and
Hmm.
for animals who live in a pack. And yeah, for invertebrates, it's very unusual to play because I think no other invertebrate on the planet plays, and they like to play. And they
Hmm.
have, I think they have blue blood, and they have how
Hmm.
much brains? 8 brains, 9 brains? I don't know. They have a lot of brains, and they're very, very strange and very different from every other species on the planet.
Yeah, they can solve problems too. Like they can unlock things and squeeze through holes that are just super tiny. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
strange. Change
it is
color,
strange.
change shape. Really strange. They
And
can.
the fact they don't have a fossil record either shows that
Correct.
they're kind of a new species on Earth if it was panspermia, you know?
And they use stuff. They use stuff. They use stuff to hide inside, and they take it with them when they travel around on the ground and hide below it and stuff like that. It's very strange. I don't know. Do you have some cases about USOs too that you worked on, or
Wisconsin has the Great Lakes. We have Lake Michigan, that's right up on the coast, on the east coast of Wisconsin. Anyways, yeah, there's been stories of UFOs and lights popping out of that lake for hundreds of years. And there's a bottom Stonehenge down on the bottom of Lake Michigan. I think it's all the way up north of Lake Michigan now. But anyways, they found rock carvings on these gigantic stones of mammoths. So it shows how long that has been down at the bottom of that lake.
yeah?
And that's one of the largest lakes in the world. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of mysterious things popping out of there. That's why I think Wisconsin too is just again a treasure trove for modern day UFO sightings and other ancient stuff that people have been coming here. And then yeah, again, we have our weird ghost and serial killers here too.
Uh, Maybe you talked about the haunted houses and stuff like that. Do you have a story about a haunted house or something like that?
I guess my dad has his own personal story with the ghost. I could tell
Oh,
that one if you like.
interesting. Yeah, of
Uh,
course.
he was young with his cousin that was waiting because they rushed their grandfather to the hospital, and the family was all there, and they were just left behind. And I guess shortly after he died, they got a phone call that okay, Grandpa passed. And shortly after that phone call, him and his cousin start hearing like woodworking happening in his old work shed in the basement. So they were kind of creeping down. They hear the hammer, they hear the saw. And the kids, him and his cousin were crying and screaming and shit. So that was his personal experience with the ghost.
Oh, he heard something working down there. Yeah, right. Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
whoa, whoa, creepy.
yeah. Like his last project that he wanted to finish before he left Earth.
Finish that project. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to put his last nail in.
Yeah, I'm building my own coffin. We had some strange things going on in our house here too. Our house is from 1800s, I don't know, 68 or something like that. Pretty old
Okay.
house. I think 5 or 6 years back, strange things happened here, and we had some knocking, and we had some walking upstairs. It was always
Hmm.
upstairs. We were in the living room. We heard from upstairs. We heard steps, like there's someone walking. Really big steps and heavy steps.
Hmm.
But we heard boom, boom, boom,
Mm.
boom. And my wife and I, we were looking at each other and saying, "The fuck." The kids aren't at home, or because one kid was at home and the other kid was really young at that point, and she was
Mhm.
sleeping. And then that's not one of the kids. That's not
Mm.
one of the kids. What is it? So at first, we did send the dogs to check. So dogs did detect anything, or maybe there's I don't know, an intruder or something like that, or something who wants to slit my throat. I don't know. So we sent the dogs, but they didn't bark and didn't detect anything.
Mm.
And we went upstairs, took lights and had everything with us, and a big stick and tear gas, and I don't know, but we didn't found anything. No, we didn't
Mhm.
found anything. So we went even higher in the house, and there was nothing, nothing. There was nothing. We didn't see nothing. So we went back down in the living room and turned on the TV again, and suddenly we heard that boom, 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 boom. Like
Mm.
someone was hitting the walls with the fist. Boom, 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 boom. And I say, what the fuck? It was, I don't know, 10 o'clock p.m., 11 o'clock p.m., something like that. And it didn't stop for, I don't know, 4 days straight. Every night, same
Wow.
time, bam, bam, bam. And it was
Wow.
not the neighbor banging his wife in the bedroom or something like that. It was our house. No, no, nothing around, and it was very crazy. It lasted for I think 3 or 4 days, and then it stopped. Nothing. We found nothing, but we also don't have a history about this house. We don't know what happened back then here. Maybe if we're talking about ghosts, maybe something like that. No, we don't know nothing about the house, what happened in here, or who died in here or something. We don't know nothing about that. But it's a very crazy experience. And another time I was podcasting. I think
Mhm.
it's 3 years back now. I was podcasting, and I finished, and I recorded something from a German podcast project, and I was very tired, and I went to the kitchen and had a pick up a glass of water and drank a glass of water. Then I went upstairs in the bathroom and was washing my hands, and I closed the door. I did close the door and turned the key around. Suddenly, the door handle went down, weak, and up, whook.
Oh no.
And I said, and I was calling my daughter. I said, Marlies, Marlies, is it you? Nothing. And I went to the
Mm.
door, turned the key around, opened the door, nobody. I went to the child's bedroom, and my daughter was sleeping, like she was very deep asleep. And I went to the door to the room of my stepson, opened the door, and he was also in his bed and very deep asleep. And I went
Mm.
to our bedroom, to the master bedroom, and I saw my wife was lying on her back and snoring and sleeping, and so she wasn't at the door also. And then I thought maybe the cat maybe jumped and reached the handle, but the handle, no, it's not so easy to
Right.
down.
Very weird.
It was very weird, yeah. I would say that was
Yeah.
very weird, yeah. Couldn't figure out what that was either. Another last thing that happened
Yeah.
to me just a few weeks back. I came home, did some work for the podcast, did some sent some emails, stuff like that. Did a phone call. It was already yeah, late evening, I would say. I don't know what time exactly, but doesn't matter. And I went to the kitchen again to get a glass of water, and on the sink there was this little knife, a sharp little knife, and it
Mhm.
was laying on the sink. And when I approached the sink, it was like, I don't know, 2 meters from the sink. This knife started to turn like a compass
Oh.
needle, turned like, I don't know, 5, 6 centimeters. It turned.
Wow.
And I said, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? And I looked at the windows to check if the windows were open, maybe the wind or something like that. I don't know. I'm always skeptical when it comes to stuff like that. But the windows were closed. And I don't know how that happened. And I also was thinking maybe it was a mouse inside the house on the sink and ran away when it saw me and turned the knife. But the
Wow.
knife turned pretty slowly. So
That's trippy.
that was trippy. That was trippy. Yeah, I didn't sleep a lot that night. I was thinking all the time, what was it? What was it? What was it? I don't know. It was a little bit creepy.
And it makes me think too that are extraterrestrials interested in ghosts or even our souls? So I heard this too that extraterrestrials are coming here to Earth because they are interested in our souls and they don't have souls of their own. They think it's awesome. They think this it's almost kind of like his reincarnation too, of like how we our souls come back to Earth and come into something else. And they find it very attractive because once you a lot of people who interact with ETs talk about how they're like emotionless too. A lot of them don't really show emotion. Very,
But the fact that they don't show emotions doesn't mean that they don't have emotions. And why wouldn't they have souls?
I don't know.
I think that everything that lives has a soul.
Yeah,
Plants, everything, the earth
yeah,
has a soul. Sounds a little
yeah.
bit spiritual, I know, or esoteric, but I
Hmm.
mean it that way. But I think everything that lives has a soul. Every plant, everything has a soul. That's my opinion. And
Yeah.
why wouldn't aliens have a soul? I don't know. And I
Hmm.
think, and I think that all those phenomenons that happens, ghosts, UFOs, aliens, yada yada, I think all has the same origin.
Mm.
I think somehow it's I cannot figure out exactly what I want to say and how to put it, but I think it's all the same. Maybe everything has the same origin, aliens, ghost stuff. Because um, I was asked by some guy who is an UFO researcher too here in Germany, and I
Hmm.
told him about my UFO experience in 1996, and he asked me the question, "Did you see a blue light when it happens?" When it happened, and I say, I don't remember. The light was shining through my window, and I don't know if I would say it was blue, but it was full moon that night and no clouds.
Hmm.
And he said, a lot of times people experience paranormal stuff. There's a UFO involved. There's UFO
Hmm.
sightings the same night.
They even say that with Bigfoot too. Some people say they see lights in the sky when there's Bigfoot sightings.
Yeah. And
Mm.
there's people claim to have seen Bigfoot carrying people inside of a craft of a UFO. But
Oh
there's
shit.
reports about that too. And
Well, that would be terrifying.
that would be terrifying. A UFO, yeah, Bigfoot inside a UFO. Maybe he steers that UFO. I don't know. But Bigfoot and UFOs it sounds a little bit kinky and funny, but why not? Everything is possible. Do you believe some that stuff like that exists? That Bigfoot is a thing?
Bigfoot's yeah, to an extent, like the fact that it clumps into like the portals too, like the vortexes that are opening up in random spots where yeah, maybe something can pop through and pop back out, or if this might be an ET, because people who do say they see lights in the sky when they encounter these things, or um, Wisconsin's known for the dog man too. You ever heard of this?
Oh, what's a dog man?
It's kind of like the Bigfoot, but kind of like more like a werewolf.
Okay.
And there's legends in Wisconsin that there's been sightings. There's a road in southern Wisconsin that's very popular of seeing uh, a group of these creatures, and there's actually a graveyard in Wisconsin that has tombstones written that the person has been killed by a werewolf. And these tombstones are from like the 1700s
Okay.
and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just interesting that they have these cryptic monsters that are still around.
All the great creatures are over there. We have you have the Mothman, you have Bigfoot, you have the Dogman, we have the Tatzelwurm.
What's that?
It's a worm.
It's a worm.
It's
It's a gigantic worm.
it's a not gigantic, and it's not really a worm. It's like people say it's dragon-like. It's 50 centimeters. Some say 2 meters. Yeah, and it's a worm. It's a worm-like creature who looks a little bit like a dragon, and it's in the Alps, French Alps, and Switzer Alps, I think. And yeah, sometimes they say it attacked people.
There was that one case, I think, that with that Russian camp ski crew back, I don't know, like the early 1800s. No, I'm sorry, the early 1900s. Well, anyways, there was a group of them, and they were all camping out in the snow, and I think they got attacked by a Bigfoot or something, where they rescuers found their bodies all like ripped apart, or there's one guy that had his bones totally in just little pieces inside the body, and I guess one other body had tons of radiation on it, it left the skin all yellow and orange and shit, like really weird shit.
Yeah, I know that case, and some say it's solved because they say snow came down, the snow broke down, and just ran them over, and the snow broke their bones and stuff like that. But the injuries were very strange, and I don't think that's.
I think they were all found naked too.
Naked,
like,
and
they went crazy. They cut the tent from the inside out and they ran. Yeah, I don't know. It is mysterious.
Yeah, strange stuff. Yeah, that was interesting. Let's end this episode.
Sure.
But before we end, here's a quick info for our viewers and listeners. Soon, Dustin and I will have some nice guests on this podcast, and one is UFO researcher and book author and publisher Philip Mantle. I already wrote an email to him, and he said yes, he will come and have another podcast. I've already recorded an episode with him, and it was very interesting. Philip Mantle is a great guy. He's a very cool guy and has a lot of knowledge about UFOs and UFO cases, so should be pretty interesting. Second,
I'm very excited.
We'll be talking with UFO researcher Preston Dennett, who I mentioned here before, I think, and yeah, we're excited about what's coming up.
Yes.
I think it will be great. And another thing, you can also find our conversations on Spotify and many other podcast platforms. It would be nice if you could subscribe to us there as well.